what's good, Bills Mafia? It's Stevie Johnson, and you're in the sit down with my man Sauce God. Go Bills. Yo, what's good, Bills Mafia? It's Stevie Johnson, and you're in the sit down with my man Sauce God. Go Bills.
Kisses, trust me. Triple sad kisses. Kisses, trust me.
And what's going on there, Bills Mafia? It is the Sit Down Buffalo Bills post-game show right here on Facebook Live and YouTube Live with Sauce God, 12 Gauge, and Modown. The Bills faced a tough loss in Houston, 23-20. So the guys from the game book are here to give their instant reaction and their takes on the Bills' tough loss, getting them to 3-2 on the season. A lot to take away from this game, even if it is a loss. So if you're just now tuned in, stay tuned in here with us as we have a jam-packed show. Hit us with a like and a share. Join us here in the comment section. The guys will be here live in just a few moments. This show is presented by Big Tree Inn, Duff's Famous Wings, BuffaloSauceGod.com, Zubaz 716 Sports Card and Memorabilia Store, and Louie's Bar in Attica. Right here on Facebook Live and YouTube Live, and airing normally Friday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, available via audio podcast the following day. Don't go anywhere, Bills Mafia. It's the Bills post-game show right here with Sauce God, 12 Gauge, and Modown.
Triple sad kisses.
Let's get this over with. 1, 2, 3, 4.
It's simple, baby. Buffalo Bills football is egg, all right? And we tell you something.
I'm gonna crack a cold one because since it's a tailgate.
Ooh, ice cold, Mike. Let me tell you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are live here in the Sit Down with Sauce God, the sports and entertainment show.
I'm whipping the sauce, I'm tripping, of course, I want it all. All of my dogs be running with guard. Your mama, you're holding your pennies in bra. Cause when I get whipping the sauce, you taking it off. I'm dancing on tracks like stomping the yard. We keeping it quiet, we moving the signs. But now we starting to riot, yeah. Keeping my eye on the prize. I got me a queen, we riding like Bonnie and Clyde. Trips to Dubai, the way I be blessing. I'm destined for changing my decimals. Decibels hitting the wave and rapping incredible. Splitting their head like a cantaloupe edible. Got me so high, I'm touching the sky. Of course, I give it my all. I'm whipping the sauce. just kicking the door, but then we been here before. She ain't involved, well, she ain't involved. Taking my shot, even if down, we tying the score. Do your dance and now twist, don't stress, don't trip. Whipping sauce real quick, stay dripping, sipping on cognac. Roll tea in my veins, but you find that I'm whipping it, watch it get saucy. I'm twisting and mixing and shaking them haters right off me.
What is going on, Bills Mafia? It is the Sauce God, and it is 12 Gauge, the producer, also the co-host for this show, right here on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and available via audio podcast the next day for our Friday show that's airing on 6:30 p.m. Eastern on Friday nights with special guests such as Slick Tom Tiberi, local Buffalo radio legend, former DJ for 97 Rock, which we didn't really talk about that too much on the Friday night show, 12 Gauge, but because he was let go from 97 Rock after a number of years. I'm not entirely sure what for, but nonetheless, we've got great special guests. We've got great content right here on Facebook Live, YouTube Live. So hit us with a like and a share. Join us in here in the comment section as well. We want to know your thoughts and what your take is. You see right away, Gage, I'm not wearing a Bills jersey anymore. Emily noticed right after, she goes, that jersey came right off as soon as they made that game-winning field goal, and I put the Yankees jersey on because, you know, the Yankees did win their playoff matchup last night against the Royals. They had a tough one. It kind of went back and forth. They kept trading 2 runs, then they would be tied, and then eventually the Yankees would prevail in that game. But they play tomorrow night, Monday, against the Royals in New York yet again. It's the best of 5 after they had a first round bye because of their overall record in the AL. So if you're just now tuning in, though, ladies and gentlemen, hit us with a like and a share. Make sure you're following, liked, and subscribe with your notifications turned on so you never miss the live versions of the sit down or the post game, pre-game coverage that we have for the Buffalo Bills. So here's going to be a tough show for myself at 12 Gauge, and we're expecting Mo down hopefully at some point. It's going to be a tough show because normally we like to come in here hyped for the Bills game, but coming in here after a loss is something difficult to do. But 12 Gauge, you and I spoke a little bit during the game. There's a lot of good to take away from this game, but there's a lot to be learned from. And obviously it's tough to lose 2 in a row. It's tough to lose on a last-second field goal, and it's tough to lose to Stephon Diggs. You want to have that ultimate validation, right? But it's not about that, guys. It's a 17-game season, an 18-week regular season, and, of course, we have an entire playoffs. So right now, there's a lot of good to take away. We're going to give you all that much more right here in the sit down myself at 12 Gauge. 12, the Bills lose the game 23-20. I had a funny feeling when we punted the ball back to them and they got a decent little return and they were able to get that play off and call timeout with 2 seconds. I said to myself, they're going to kick a field goal. It's just, this game ain't going overtime. I felt there was some mismanagement by the offensive play calling. I felt there were some really key opportunities that the Buffalo Bills missed. We're going to talk about all that and much more. Join us here in the comment section, ladies and gentlemen. It's the sit down on Facebook Live, YouTube Live with Sauce God at Buffalo Sauce God and my guy 12 Gauge. And I want to know your guys' thoughts as well. Some people are immediately calling for Sean McDermott's head because he didn't challenge that incomplete pass from Dalton Kincaid that they said he bobbled on, which I thought was a bam play. It could have been called either way. I did see the ball wobbling a bit. The commentators seem to think otherwise, but does that mean it's necessarily going to be reversed? No, it doesn't mean that, but I still think there are opportunities Sean McDermott could have capitalized and just maybe didn't. The offense didn't capitalize when they needed to. The defense came out and made plays. A much different game in the second half, 12 Gauge. So instantly, first half, it wasn't fun. I mean, we get down 17-3, and it's like, all right, we had that drive where we got the field goal. We had some momentum. James Cook was effective in the first quarter, but then it seemed like the Bills were just going to continue to try and run the football with him. And it wasn't necessarily that was working for him. It was getting open in the passing game that opened up the run game. And by the way, James Cook had a phenomenal catch that wasn't 2 feet in bounds, so it wasn't ruled a catch, but an absolute fucking monstrous effort for a 50-50 ball. And if he could have gotten both feet down, it would have been huge, right? But first half just wasn't good, 12 Gauge. What do you got to say, brother?
To your point, I believe that his elbow came down in bounds. If you're watching it close.
Yeah. Okay, so
his elbow came down in bounds. And his foot got down
I was
too.
wondering, because they kept showing the play, and I was, in between the kitchen and between the game because of doing chicken wings. By the way, Emily's chicken wings were fucking Gauge so good. They're just falling off the bone. The spice in it is good. I mean, yeah, it's my sauce, sure, but Emily's the one that puts the whole fucking thing together. She's the best.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I saw that play and I saw them continuously replaying it. It made me wonder, why did they why do they keep showing it? So obviously his elbow might have came in bounds, and that's a possibility. But it's two of those examples right there that people have said is a problem with Sean McDermott in the past, that he doesn't have a killer's instinct, 'cause sometimes he's too conservative, right? But I think you have to try to conserve timeouts in certain situations. You don't necessarily want to chance certain things in situations. And I'm sure that there's somebody in the booth upstairs that's telling him, hey, throw the flag or don't throw the flag, whatever. But you'd like to see in those situations where you're not getting everything to work offensively and defensively, to maybe have something overturned in the replay booth. And I like that you made that case for that 12 gauge. First half, there were some highlights to take away from, but in today's show, Gage actually has some questions for me to answer for all you guys out there, and we're actually wondering what your guys' answers are as well. Right here in the sit down, presented by BuffaloSauceGuy.com, Duff's Famous Wings, Big Tree in Zubaz 716 Sports Card and Memorabilia Store in Depew, and also the Louie's Bar in Attica. So, 12 gauge, what do you got to start me off here for? What do you want my opinion to take away from?
Well, I want to know what your take is on what we did better in the second half as opposed to the first half.
Well, okay. First half is it's a tale of two halves. It really is. First half, the Bills were not able to continue to move the football down the field. A lot of 3 and outs. I think they had 3 and outs in the first half, and that's something that we didn't see at all against Jacksonville. We didn't see much of against in the previous 2 games either. But that's what kind of got them into a hole that found themselves 17-3. And this is the third game now that we've had to play from behind in the second half. The Cardinals game, which that one we saw the momentum building before the half ended, and that was a much different scenario. But then we had the same situations against the Ravens, and now the same situations this week against the Texans. And the Ravens and Texans are 2 really good offenses with solid defenses and really well put together teams that you just can't have that kind of stuff happen. So first half, I saw penalties. I saw the drop passes that we talked about in the pregame show that I don't want to see. Second half, I didn't see that. I saw more penalties being called on Houston and versus the Bills. And I thought that instead of just trying to run it with James Cook, we found other ways to get guys involved in the offense. And 12 gauge, I really think it's just like Keon Coleman was able to start getting it going in the second half, and that was a big part of it. Josh Allen ran for a couple big first downs. That was a big part of it. James Cook was still effective in the second half, but what did we do right in the second half versus the first half? Well, second half, we played much better defense. We were more grounded. I mean, we gave up that opening drive field goal to put them 20-3. Yes. But at that point, I felt, okay, now we have a little bit of momentum. We can just change this and go on offense and score. And then we're going to have to play defense again and get the opportunity for our offense again. And that's what we did. We made the best of our opportunities in the second half. Until the fourth quarter, we weren't able to execute and score touchdowns when we had chances to pull away and pull ahead in this game. But we did force a tie game at the end and force a very long field goal for the Houston Texans to ultimately win 23-20. But come on. I mean, they played better football in the second half. Josh Allen was one of 9 to start the game. That's not good. And yes, there were drop passes, but he never really looked comfortable in the backfield. He was being rushed. And I think that's why they try to establish the run very quickly. And they also try to get the ball out of Josh's hands fast. But sometimes you got to let the play develop. I saw, here's another miscue. I think this came in the second half. Keon Coleman, it's like a short slant option that he's going to throw it to him, and he's not even looking for the ball, and it hits him in the back of the head. So that's just him being a rookie and trying to still develop some chemistry. I mean, it's game 5 for the Buffalo Bills and Keon Coleman in the NFL with Josh Allen. And this is an offense that lost its number 1 option in Stephon Diggs to Houston. And so you're kind of rebuilding your identity and rebuilding chemistry, and you're just trying to kind of get what's your go-to when you need to the most. And I think we saw a little bit of Dalton Kincaid and Keon Coleman in the second half. That's kind of what I talked about, that they needed the entire game was from one of those 2 guys to have Josh's back. But overall, you got more pressure on CJ Stroud in the second half. Your defensive backs played a much better game. They tackled better. And instead of 2nd and 2, it was 2nd and 8. You know what I mean? And instead of 3rd and 2, it was 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7. The Bills just played better field position football. And when they got the stop on defense, they actually forced 2 turnovers, one of them being a interception by Terrell Bernard. Props to Gage for his pick on the game book MVP of the game for defense. And then they had a fumble recovery as well. That was huge. So you'd like to see 14 points come out of those, but ultimately we're still just kind of we're without Khalil Shakir this week. Let's not forget that. I'd like to think that some of those third down passes could have gone to him and it'd be a different scenario per se. Dalton Kincaid had 4 targets to start the game and only 1 catch. So he had some drop passes. Josh Allen looked a little out of sync sometimes on the deep ball, and that's something that he had developed really well with Stephon Diggs. It took him a minute to develop it with John Smokey Brown, so it makes you wonder, okay, does he just need some time to get that option with a guy like MVS or Curtis Samuel or Khalil Shakir? Yeah, I think so, and I think that that's something we're going to see build. I think these kinds of losses are big for this team because you can learn from it. You could take away a lot of good things. You could see what didn't work and what does work. So real fast, overall, the second half, the Bills just showed up. They played offense. They played defense. They made some key plays. They looked more like the Buffalo Bills that we should have seen. And I had a feeling they were going to come back. I really would have liked to have seen them pull away with that. But here's the Bills stats for the game, and this is presented by BuffaloSauceGuy.com. Josh Allen with not a good passing day efficiency-wise. 9 for 30. That's lower than 33% completion. That is actually, let's see, if you break that down, divided by 3, that is 30% completion percentage. 1 touchdown, however, to Keon Coleman for 49 yards. He did, however, rush the ball 4 times for 54 yards. That was effective. James Cook, 20 carries for 82 yards. Not bad. You'd like to see more in the 4.5 to 5 yards per carry average. But hey, still the Houston defense was very stingy, and they stopped him on a lot of short. But then he had some big runs. So, I mean, he did his job. He showed up. He did his job. He had a touchdown. Keon Coleman led the day for receivers, 1 catch for 49 yards. This is an interesting take here, Gage. So you got 2 catches for Dalton Kincaid, 34 yards, one of them being a 26-yarder, and that was a big one. Then you got 2 catches from Matt Collins, 27 yards. 2 catches from James Cook, 17 yards. 1 catch from Ray Davis for 4 yards. 1 catch from Curtis Samuel. So no Bills receiver or running back had more than 2 catches. Keon Coleman led the day yardage-wise with only 1 catch, and that being a touchdown, a big one, which, by the way, I want to see more of that. Now, yes, we saw that he got called for that offensive pass interference, by the way, and that was probably the right call if you're going to throw a flag there. I don't think you need to because they're kind of both going for the ball. Like, I didn't think it was a defensive pass interference, but it does show that that's one area of his game that he's got to learn how to develop better because you're not going to get the benefit of the doubt as a rookie with that call. You have to learn how to create separation and make it look less conflicting as far as contact wise, right? So I think Keon Coleman can look at that on film and see that as something good to take away. Dorian Williams did have a fumble recovery. The Bills did not turn the football over offensively, so that's good. And that still shows that offensively they are still building this. I mean, defensively, we're still without Taron Johnson and Matt Milano and Ed Oliver and Von Miller, and we still held the Houston Texans to 23 points. Okay, so there's good things to take away from this game. It makes you wonder if we would have had a better tackling defensive back like Taron Johnson, if we could have got more pressure with a guy like Ed Oliver. But Carter did solid. There, Solomon did it. He's all right as well. Christian Benford played all right. Cam Lewis had a couple missed tackles, but played it better in the second half. Damar Hamlin, second in the team in tackles, 9 total, 7 solo. Dorian Williams had 11 solo tackles. That's huge. I mean, that's production. That's a guy that we need to see more of. He's in his second year now. So that's something you want to see a little bit more of in a guy that's supposed to replace Jermaine Edmonds a couple years ago. So then Terrell Bernard had 5 total tackles and, of course, an interception and a pass deflection. So Terrell Bernard showed up and did his job 1 week after being out for the previous 3 weeks, I believe it was. So that's the stats for the game. Ultimately, Gage, like I said, there's a lot of good things to build on. There's a lot of negative things, of course. And if you don't spot the negatives, then you're not going to learn and become better. If you're just now tuning in, ladies and gentlemen, it's the Sit Down Bills postgame show as the Buffalo Bills lost a tough one, 23-20 on the last second. Long field goal attempt for the Texans, which at first I thought he had missed it. It looked like it was not. It was going left, and then it kicked back into the middle, and that's when it's like, yep, that's it. So nonetheless, whatever, it is what it is, Bills Mafia. We are on to the New Jersey Jets. We're going to be on the road again. This will be the 3rd straight road game, and then we'll be back at home. And we still have a very, very tough part of the schedule coming up. In fact, let me bring that up real fast. 12 gauge. What did you think? We get that Keon Coleman touchdown. At that point, what did you start feeling in your body?
Oh, I think it was at halftime. I changed my jersey.
Same here. Because I actually gotten chicken wing sauce on my fucking Sauce God jersey, and Emily's like, yeah, take it off. And so it was stained. So then I changed it to my white Josh Allen jersey, and that actually proved to be a little bit effective. So you made a jersey change
Yeah,
at
I
halftime
changed
as
my
well?
Josh Allen jersey too.
Oh my goodness, I love that. So 12 gauge, that's why my brother. Hey, cheers to you, Bills Mafia. It is a tough loss, but nonetheless, it's Sunday. It's football Sunday. We now get to watch the rest of the NFL action this weekend, and as well as the Monday Night Football game tomorrow. So a lot of reason to be excited as well. And it's still a wonderful, blessed Sunday afternoon or evening because we all woke up above ground. So that's huge. The Bills will have the Jets in East Rutherford for Monday Night Football. By the way, another primetime game, and that'll be their third of the last. No, I'm sorry. There were 3 straight night games, so that'll be 4 of the last 5 games on primetime at night. Then they have the Tennessee Titans at home on Sunday at 1 p.m. the following week. We have Seattle coming. We're going to Seattle actually to play at 4:05 Eastern time on the 27th. It's a Sunday. The Bills will host the Dolphins the following week on Sunday at 1 p.m. That's a big one right there because I think Tua should be possibly back by then, and if he really does return to play, then the Bills will go on the road to Indianapolis. The Chiefs are going to be in town for 425 football on the 17th, and then we have a bye week, which is huge to have a late season bye. And then we have the 49ers coming into town for Sunday Night Football after that. So 12, it's a tough part of the schedule. You know, you would like to have Taron Johnson back this week. So maybe in these next 4 games, let's say you can win 3 of them. All right. You'd be at 6-3. Now it's going to be tough because the Jets lost today, and that's huge. But the Patriots and Dolphins played each other today, and I don't think either one of those teams is going to really contend at this moment, unless for some. Yeah, I don't think either one of them is going to contend for a spot in the AFC East. But ultimately, you got the Jets coming up next. And right now, the Jets are playing better football. There's the rumors of Devontae Adams possibly going there. It's said to be that the Jets and the Saints are the current favorites. The Bills are linked to them. The Chiefs are linked to them. We'll talk about that much more here still to go in the sit down with Sauce God and 12 gauge. We're expecting Mo down at some point here. It's 5:17, folks. 5:17. So 12 gauge, what do you got for more questions for me? And if you guys are out there watching, join us here in the comment section as well and let us know what you think following that 23-20 loss against the Houston Texans.
All right. After these 2 losses in a row and the Jets coming up next, as you mentioned, what does the mentality need to be going into Monday Night Football?
The mentality is you have to have short-term memory. You don't want to think about the last 2 losses. You don't want to start to have the sense of urgency. I mean, sometimes it helps, but you don't want to feel the pressure. You want to just go in there and play football and beat your divisional rival and continue your dominance of the AFC East. As far as I'm concerned, the rest of the NFL, it's going to be, we got to win those games, but you want to win your divisional games the most. I remember years ago, 12 gauge, it was, I think, Andy Dalton's first or second year as the quarterback for the Bengals. And the Bengals actually won every divisional game that year, but they didn't have the best overall record. But like, that's the kind of shit that you need. You need to win these divisional games. So after losing, you have to have a mentality of, all right, let's find out what we need to fix, what needs to be built on, and how are we going to go into Jersey and come away with a win? Because the Jets have been a tough opponent in the AFC East for us, especially now they have Aaron Rodgers, a healthy Aaron Rodgers. He was banged up today. He did have a pretty poor day passing wise. Garrett Wilson with a big day, but you have to have the mentality of let's go in here, let's win, and let's get back in the win column and build on that. No one should be looking past the Jets. No one should be looking back at this game throughout the entire week. You don't want to sit there and dwell on it. No, you're 3-2. It's 5 games into the season. You're still above 500, and you still have some winnable games in front of you, and you have Josh Allen as your quarterback, and you have guys getting back healthy. And like we talked about on Friday, it might have been not Friday, it might have been the pregame show. Matt Milano could be back sooner than we expected. So if Matt Milano can come on the football field and perform and produce the way that Terrell Bernard came out of one game after injury, that's huge. We get guys like Taylor Rapp back because Cole Bishop had some rookie moments. You know, he got beat in the secondary coverage there against Nico Collins, which thank you for the fantasy points, Nico Collins, and then he left with an injury, which you never want to wish for an injury, but it's like, thanks for getting what I needed and getting out of here. But those kinds of things you can't have happen. And that's something that we've seen Damar Hamlin get better at, but Taylor Rapp would probably be a more ideal to safety in that situation. So getting guys back defensively and offensively, if we get Khalil Shakir back this week, is huge. You want to get healthy, and you want to remember that it's still early in the season, and you want to win these games. But we were losing this game by 14 points at first, then 17 points, and yet we still found ourselves within a possibility of going to overtime. I think, though, that Joe Brady needs to kind of, sometimes you have to be conservative. I understand the Bills are known sometimes to be too conservative at times, but in that situation at the end of the game, I would have maybe liked to have seen them run the football, or at least put the ball in bounds to get the clock running and force Houston to kind of have to either play their timeouts or just to delete some time. That would have been effective. So I think if you want to keep your mentality correct for the Jets, just remember, it's another game. It's 1 week in and 1 week out. One drive at a time, one play at a time. Just stay grounded and play championship football. All right, 12 gauge. Let's go into our next segment here, brother. What do you got for more questions for me?
All right, next question. Are we needing more offensively?
That's the question that really is going to be asked a lot throughout the entire week, and I'm sure that people in the media are going to definitely talk about quite a bit. And of course, if you're just now tuning in, you're live here in the Sit Down with Sauce God 12 gauge, right here on Facebook Live and YouTube Live in the Sit Down post-game show. This is right here on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and if you guys don't mind hitting us with a like and a share, join us here in the comment section as well. 12 gauge, does the offense need more? I think, yeah, you do, and it's part of it's missing Khalil Shakir. Part of it is the play calling too, and I'm not trying to be overcritical, because I've said before, Joe Brady does a great job as the offensive coordinator in drawing up the game plan and play calling. I have nothing but confidence in him still. I'm not calling for his head or nothing. We're not seeing the same woes like we saw with Ken Dorsey. We're seeing them kind of correct things and adjust to things and finding ways to get guys going. And this is a tough task, to create the offense tailored to guys that are not Stephon Diggs anymore, and to cater it towards a rookie receiver. And then you have two tight ends. We're not seeing much Dawson Knox lately either, by the way. So I think at times you got to get James Cook out of the game a little bit more and go to a guy like Ty Johnson, because Ty Johnson can add just a different level of attack. And we saw a little bit of that in the second half, and I thought that kind of helped us build momentum. So I think offensively, we need more of Joe Brady to know when to be conservative, when to push the issue, when to take deep shots. I think he needs to just kind of learn, and that's part of it. He's a young offensive coordinator. I mean, yes, he was the offensive coordinator for LSU when Joe Burrow was the quarterback. By the way, Joe Burrow had a monstrous day against the Ravens, but the Ravens did win, I think. He was the quarterback coach when Ken Dorsey was our offensive coordinator. And so, yeah, he's got to learn a little bit. And I think that's part of it. You know, calling for Josh Allen runs, yes. Knowing when to not necessarily try to push the run so much. Using play action a little bit more, getting Josh Allen outside the pocket a little bit more. I feel like the offensive line also had a down first half. So when the offensive line is more playing efficiently and not getting penalties, and they're protecting, Josh Allen plays a much better game. We saw that in the second half immediately with his completions going up. He had 8 completions after starting 1 for 9. Like, yeah. So I mean, really starting 1 for 9, he finished 8 for 11, or no, sorry, 8 for 21. So that's better, but a lot of those were drop passes as well. I think you want to have something more like offensively, because you have no receivers with more than 2 catches today. I'd like to see Keon Coleman get targeted more. There were times that he was in single coverage, and I felt like, all right, here you go. You don't necessarily need to do the whole 10-yard, 50-50 ball. You can throw him some short slants, and people are saying he's not getting separation. It's a part of learning the game and developing to the speed of it. You know what I'm saying? Separation is part of it, but we're not talking about the fastest guy in the world here. We're talking about a guy that we got to go up there and get 50-50 balls. So let's see a little bit more of that. I would like to see in those situations where you're not getting some consistency from your receivers, Dalton Kincaid to be called on. Become the Travis Kelce of this offense, where no matter what, if Pat Mahomes has this guy, that guy, it doesn't matter. He's got Travis Kelce for even if it's a 5-yard gain. So I think I'd like to see Dalton Kincaid in the check down situation a little bit more sometimes versus being downfield sometimes. And it's the question that's being asked because Devontae Adams is being linked to the Bills. But does Devontae Adams give you what you're missing in this offense? I don't know if I believe that. I think you get a lot of the separation from guys like Khalil Shakir and Keon Coleman, a bigger guy, obviously. Matt Collins with some opportunities, yes. You know what I'm saying? But the drop passes. It's Gage, we don't have no turnovers and not win the game unless it were for a reason of mistakes like penalties and drop passes. That's what we saw too much of. Defensively, we didn't play a good first half either. Okay. So offensively, I think we need some more juice. I think that we saw Josh Allen playing that Superman level of football week 1 and in week 2, but then week 3, week 3, it's all about him as well, but week 4, not so much, week 5, not so much. So let's see a little bit more of the offense tailored to Josh Allen. It makes you wonder if maybe he's a little bit more hobbled with that hand than they're letting on him to be. He did leave the game for a play after going. It was a 4th down play. Went out of the game. Trubisky came in for 1 play. They ran it after they recovered the fumble, but yeah, obviously it was probably maybe just a concussion evaluation or something like that. But obviously he was good to go, so that's good. That's good news. But defensively, you need more too, because sometimes I think, even if the defense gets you opportunities, Gage, to come back onto the field and you're not scoring and they got to go back on the field, yeah, it might get annoying. But at the same time, like, they get you enough opportunities, you're going to find some type of rhythm. But if you're sitting out there for 5 minutes while the defense is on the field, you know what I mean? And then you go in the game, you're going to be a little bit rusty. We saw Garrett Cole for the Yankees last night. When the Yankees were putting up some runs in the innings, he'd be out of the inning pitching for a good amount of time, and he'd come back in and he wouldn't be as effective. That happens. You get a little rusty, you get a little warm, you know what I mean? You kind of lose a little bit of your juice. So it's not necessarily them needing more offensively, but I just think overall you need to find some more consistency and play some cleaner football, especially against these better teams like Baltimore and Houston. And then the Jets being a divisional opponent next week, man, that's to me a must win. I'm not saying that the season is shot if they don't win, but it's a must win situation because you can get to 4-2. And then you could also get to 2-0 in the division. And that right there is a third of your division games. That's huge. All right. And obviously we have some really tough ones at the end of the season with the Patriots and Jets again. Miami here in the coming few weeks with possibly Tua coming back. So these are games that we have to win down the stretch. But if you guys are just now tuning in, this is the sit-down post-game show for the Buffalo Bills with Sauce Scott 12 Gauge. Bills lose 23-20. We're live here on Facebook and on YouTube. Guys, make sure you're liked, following, subscribe, notifications turned on so you don't miss the live versions of the sit-down or the sit-down Bills pregame tailgate show, the Bills post-game show right here on Facebook Live, YouTube Live. And don't forget, it's available via audio podcast the following day. And again, join us here in the comments. Throw us a like and a share. This is presented by BuffaloSauceGuy.com. Duff's Famous Wings, where medium is hot. You don't have to ask for them extra crispy if you go to the original on Sheridan Drive. Big Tree Inn, the wing night on Thursday right next to the stadium. Also, Louie's Bar in Attica. We're home of the best whack and wing combinations all of Western New York. And a spot to get some drinks, play some pool, play some music on the jukebox. Tell Chad Sauce God sent you. And, of course, the Zubaz own 716 Sports Card and Memorabilia store in Depew, which Jason was actually live from. Modown was live from this morning. Storefront, great stuff. Great Bills memorabilia, signed memorabilia, great trading cards, stuff like that. And I'll tell you what, man, I've driven past it. Great spot. If you need some Zubaz stuff, I think you might have that in stock too. So 12 Gauge, you got another question for me, brother, and then I'm gonna actually kind of come back to you with some questions.
Well, I got one more for you. What, if anything, can we take away from this loss?
All right, we're good. We're maybe not as good as we thought we were. And I think that that's something the Bills should have already had in their heads anyways, because you don't want to get too conceited. I think the Ravens game humbled us a little bit. I think the Ravens game showed and exposed some of the areas of the team that needed to get strengthened. But I also think there are some really good things to take away from this game. The defense played better in the second half. We got much better pressure. We contained better. And I think that we realized it's not always about getting the play for a loss. It's about getting them to go for plays that are short yardage, getting them into 2nd and 8, 3rd and 6. Versus 2nd and 3, 3rd and 1, or even just picking up first down after first down. So we were able to slow down a really good Houston Texans offense, especially with the way C.J. Stroud played in the first half. I think he had 1 incompletion in the first half. He played phenomenal. But they have some weapons. Nico Collins, I mean, he got past the help and the safeties, and he made use of his play right there. But I also wanted to highlight some of the Texans stats. So CJ Stroud actually finished the day 28 for 38, so he had more incompletions in the second half. 331 yards, a touchdown, and a pick, and that's something that we said you got to make him throw some interceptions. He doesn't throw interceptions a lot, but they got it. The defense did their job. Stephon Diggs had 6 catches for 82 yards, so here we go. I that's something positive to take away. He didn't get 10 catches. He didn't get 100 yards. He didn't score a touchdown. Ultimately, I felt like the Bills were the better team in the second half, but they just need to go down the field and execute. And remember, it's not, you don't have to get it in one play. You got to just pick up chunks, move the football, control the pace of the game, just like you did against Arizona, like you did against Miami, and continue that. And even if you get 3 points, great, but you've got to finish drives. I like that the Bills went for it on fourth down sometimes, and they got it, you know what I mean? But we need some less drop passes. And I think we realize more that Keon Coleman has got to be more of a game plan that we build around. James Cook is effective, man. He's great, and you could continue to establish the run with him, find ways to get him involved in the passing game. But I think Joe Brady has got to learn and take away from this game that, hey, I got to know when to throw some trick plays. I got to know when to call this play, and I got to know when, situational-wise, to use this guy. And I think that that's something that's going to prove to be effective in coming weeks. And I think Sean McDermott needs to remember how to learn to balance this whole conservative and aggressive approach, this whole killer instinct approach. And sometimes you got to throw that challenge flag, especially in the first half, because you're not, yeah, you'd like to have your 3 timeouts with under 2 minutes to go in the first half, sure, but you'd also like to have those in the second half. So if you're going to take a chance, first half, you could definitely take a chance. And that Dalton Kincaid catch that could have been a first down could have definitely changed the momentum in the first half. The James Cook one definitely could have changed the outcome of the game, right? So I think everybody on this team, including Josh Allen, needs to see this as a game to build on and get better from. Okay? It's a very talented team. It's a well-built team, an experienced team, and a team that's got itself in a position still above 500 where you can win football games and you can find yourselves in the playoffs. And as long as you get to the playoffs, then you have a chance, all right? But it's all about week after week, and this week we have the New Jersey Jets. So this week we're going to have to Sauce Gardner left the game with a head injury this morning, so we're going to pay attention to the injury report in the coming week as well. 12 gauge, I think overall, I want to see more of the guys. And we saw that from Khalil Shakir kind of being the primary guy at times, but when he's not there, who is going to be that guy? Keon Coleman was a little bit of that in the second half, only 1 catch. Matt Collins with some plays too, but just again, we're seeing these drop passes, and it's like it's not Stephon Diggs, it's not Gabe Davis. You know what I'm saying? Like guys that were more sure-handed. It's not Cole Beasley, but we do have some talented playmakers out there. I think that if you're going to involve Curtis Samuel, you want to do it soon because this guy's got no identity on this offense at all. So if you're going to take away anything else from this game, it's find a way to get the guys that you have on that team involved. And the guys that are on the field, how they could be effective, like Terrell Bernard coming away with an interception, a key interception that was thrown towards Stephon Diggs, by the way. I love that. So myself and the Sauce God and 12 Gauge are in here live on Facebook and YouTube. Bills Mafia, it's a tough loss, 23-20, but 12 Gauge, what do you think the best moment of this game was? I want you to take away some, let's go into some positive things here. What do you think is the overall best moment of this entire game?
I think Terrell Bernard getting that pick, and then that fumble recovery deep in Texans territory. I can't pick just one. Keon Coleman getting that long touchdown on fourth down. Big play there. Lots of positives to take away. Terrell Bernard coming back, getting that pick. Has to be mine.
Terrell Bernard is definitely got to be up there, especially at that moment in the game. I was telling Emily we got to either hold him to 3 or we got to get a turnover, and of course we get the turnover. So like that's huge. But for me, it's definitely the Keon Coleman touchdown because, all right, he looked like he sort of stepped out of bounds, and the fact that it wasn't overturned or anything like that, that's great. You know what I mean? But also he caught the ball, tough catch, but then the run after the catch showed a little bit more of his game and his athleticism, and I think that's something that people call into question quite a bit because he can't get separation, this and that. Just shut up, all you guys out there, right? 12 Gauge, I think the best moment is there, but for me, it's when the Bills got it to 2017, okay? So when they're 2017, it's like they have the momentum, if they would have scored on their next opportunity, whether it's a field goal or touchdown, they were going to win this game. But they couldn't make the game-winning shot, is how I looked at it. And sometimes that happens. LeBron James missed a lot of those game-winning shots early in his career, but eventually he would win 4 championships and have some key clutch shots in serious games in the NBA Finals and NBA playoffs, right? And that's kind of the way I look at it with the Buffalo Bills. You just have to find a way to make the shot. And right now, I think that guy used to maybe be Stephon Diggs or Gabe Davis for Josh Allen to throw to. And right now, we just need that guy who's going to be the guy that can catch the game-winning shot. That's how I look at it. So, 12 gauge. What you saw from on offense today, do we need Devontae Adams, or are we missing Khalil Shakir, or did we just need to find our rhythm offensively?
I think we're just missing Khalil Shakir a little too much. I think he is a key to our identity that we are still trying to find with these new receivers. But yeah, Khalil Shakir, missing him was big. Yeah.
And Gage nailed it on the money there. Cash money. I'm playing some sound effects in the background, trying to have some fun with this. Let's see what this one says. I don't know what that was. Sharpen your swords, Buffalo Sabres. And so 12 gauge, I think Khalil Shakir missing was very huge for this team. Because he's sure-handed. I mean, we saw a streak of him catching, like, I think it was like 27 straight passes thrown his way that were caught. That's huge. By the way, the Raiders and the Broncos right now are 13-10 at the half. Over under 36.5. I have the under. So let's see if that actually can hold up like it did last week. I do have over 48.5 for the Cardinals and the 49ers, and then under 49.5 for the Packers and the Rams. So we'll see how those play out. If this parlay could hit, that'd be a way to recap after the Bills losing. So 12 gauge, man. I think the Bills offense right now is Josh Allen and James Cook and Khalil Shakir. But you want to see it be Dalton Kincaid and Keon Coleman. And I'm saying Dalton Kincaid is I have no doubt this kid is going to be a top 5 tight end in the NFL for his career. Should he stay healthy and play longevity, whatever. But it's his sophomore season, and there's a thing called sophomore slump, and he's had more drop passes this year than he did last year. But I think he has got a little bit more pressure on his shoulders. Last year, he came in as the number 2 tight end. This year, he immediately is the number 1 tight end, and it's a pressure situation, especially in an offense where you're trying to feed all the mouths, and you're trying to figure out who's going to be that guy. So you'd like to see one of these guys kind of become more of the identity on offense with James Cook and Josh Allen. Because James Cook has won some games, all right? Cowboys last year. This year, he's been absolutely on fire. And another touchdown today for him. That's great. But it needs to be somebody else that's, part of the core on offense. You know what I mean? And is it going to be Khalil Shakir if he comes back healthy and can continue to have his pace and consistency? Or is it going to be Keon Coleman and Dalton Kincaid? Or is it going to be all of them, right? So that's kind of what we're hoping for right here in the sit down on Facebook Live, YouTube Live with Sauce God and 12 gauge right here. And don't forget, guys, this is available via audio podcast the following day, wherever you may get your podcasts from, Apple, Spotify, wherever it may be. Don't forget, too, this is sponsored by BuffaloSauceGuy.com, Duff's Famous Wings, Big Tree Inn, Zubaz Zone 716 Sports Card and Memorabilia Store, and Louie's Bar in Attica. So we've been talking a little bit about everything with the Bills, and we're going to go into the Pain Train's defensive breakdown and talk about what we think the Bills defensively need to work on and improve on heading into East Rutherford, New Jersey to face against the New Jersey Jets. Let's get into Pain Trains. 12 gauge, I think you got to just continue to get better pressure. I mean, we didn't really get a ton of pressure in the first half, and CJ Stroud was able to break away from it, and he actually ran the ball effectively and showed some Josh Allen-esque plays, as the commentators continue to say. But overall, I think if you want to continue to beat teams and play better, then you have to play better defensively, and that's going to come from the secondary doing its job, guys coming back healthy, like, Terrell Bernard this week, hopefully Taron Johnson next week, hopefully Matt Milano soon enough, Taylor Rapp, Ed Oliver, all those guys. But defensively, I think we did a good job. We got some turnovers, and we gave our offense the chances in the second half that they needed. But you'd like to see that for 4 quarters of football and not just 2. 12 gauge, what do you think? Did the defense, what would you like to see them do better in the following game versus what they did this week?
Tackle.
Literally nailed it on the head. I don't even know why I said that, because, dude, the tackling was atrocious in the first half. By the way, I talked about Dorian Williams. Listen, the guy is a freak of nature athlete, and he loves flying around, but sometimes you got to break down and tackle the guy because he can make a cut. You can't just fly at him 100 miles an hour unless you literally are flying 100 miles an hour. Then you got to break down and make the tackle. And we saw Cam Lewis. Sometimes those guys would get hit at the line of scrimmage, and then they would break the tackle and pick up 2, 3, 4, 5 yards. That's immediately going to set your defense into a tougher situation, right? So tackling, I like that information, that answer very well. Let's go into the next segment here of the victory formation offensive breakdown for what we think the Bills need to do offensively, building on this week's loss heading into Jersey. Let's get into victory formation. I think you just have to have less penalties than you did in the first half, and they play better in the second half. I think overall we need to have Joe Brady dialing up this game plan and kind of adjusting in-game a little bit quicker. Sometimes you have a game plan and it's not working right away, but you stay with it. And sometimes, okay, then at halftime you make your adjustments. But sometimes you got to make the decision. It's like when you're betting. Do you want to cash out right away, or do you want to take the chance and let it play out and win the whole thing? Well, sometimes you got to take the guaranteed money. Okay, so sometimes you got to change things up a little bit. But I think that this offense still did a great job in the second half, and Houston's a tough defense. They really are, and this is an offense that didn't have Khalil Shakir this week. So you're asking a lot out of the guys that are on the field. You have Dalton Kincaid, second-year tight end. You have Keon Coleman, rookie off receiver. You have James Cook, who has been in this league now for what? 3 years. Okay. So I'm just saying 12 offensively, let's develop the identity a little bit better, and let's try to find who is going to be the true number 1 option, because it seems at times it's just Josh is going to read the field and make the number 1 option. No, you have to have somebody that he knows he wants to go to right away. And I think that that's something that they can work on. But offensively, what do you think the Bills are going to have to do to build off this loss heading into Jersey?
Just less penalties. We need to get Kincaid involved more. We need
Kincaid involved more?
Kincaid more. We need more Keon Coleman too. Try to find, like you said, try to find a way to get Curtis Samuel involved.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe in the slot.
And it's like, okay, Matt Collins, what's his primary role? Is it more of a special teams guy? Once in a while, is he like a Jake Kumaro kind of guy? Because I see some openings from Matt Collins, and I think he deserves a chance to maybe get some more looks too. In fact, he had a deep ball that he had the guy beat, and Josh just couldn't necessarily get it right in the. I think overall, the Bills' deep ball is missing, Gage, and it's missing. We saw them in week 1 kind of take the shot with MVS. That's kind of what you brought him here for. Khalil Shakir has that ability, but we need who is the deep ball threat, because I think, by the way, coming in with us now is Modown. And let me get you on the screen here, brother man. In fact, I want to edit this a little bit. Modown, how you doing, brother? How we doing? Modown, you there?
Yeah, I'm coming in.
He's coming in. All right, y'all see Modown's got a mask on. All right, what's this whole deal?
I'm not happy, man. I don't want to show my face.
You know what? That's what I was missing. That's what I was missing. I don't want to fucking show my eyeballs. Modown, we're talking about the Bills offensively, what they're going to have to do to build off of this loss and heading into New Jersey, where you're going to face a tough defense, a divisional rival. And we're talking about they don't really have that identity. And yeah, we missed Khalil Shakir this week, who was a big part of our offense. I think our identity has been driven more towards James Cook per se. But what would you like to see more of in the game next week against the Jets based on what you saw today?
Oh, Jesus. The run was nice. I mean, Cook was doing all right. He was holding it down. I think we should have stuck with that more. Allen just couldn't get it together, man.
Yeah, I think, I mean, it really just, I don't want to see drop passes, okay? I saw too much of that last season, and it proved to be crucial for us in some of the losses, and I don't want to see any more of that. So I'd like to really see the offense kind of tune things up. I liked how we didn't have any penalties. That's a very pivotal part. But overall, man, even Emily just texted me and said, "What is on that dude's face right now?" He doesn't want to show his face. It's a mask. It looks like he got that mask from the Food Lion grocery store in Mexico. Modown, it was a tale of two halves, though. Overall, I thought the Bills did not really show up very effective in the first half, but second half they did. And I thought Keon Coleman got that touchdown. It showed me that we've got to find a way to get him more involved. And I think at times they tried to. They had that short slant that hit him in the back of the head. So I think it's just more games for him and Josh to develop their chemistry together. Now it's week 5, heading into week 6. Do you feel a sense of urgency heading into Jersey?
100%. That is
and she wasn't knocking that mask, just so you know. She's just wondering what the hell.
It's all good. I got other ones we'll use, down the line here, but
I should have worn my fish hat.
Fuck, I would forget what the hell was this. Oh yeah, Jets, definitely, dude. Sense of urgency all day. We cannot lose 3 in a row. We can't drop 1 to an AFC rival. The Jets look like shit. Now is definitely a good time to capitalize on that.
And that sound you just heard was not the Jets beating the Bills. That's the sound of the Jets flying out of East Rutherford, New Jersey as Victorians. They are going to be victorious. There's a little sound effect that I had backstage. I had to play that real fast. But Modown, I listen. Maybe I'm just maturing, because I used to take every single loss so to heart that I wouldn't be live right now. I wouldn't be on social media. I probably wouldn't even be watching the rest of the football action. But now it's like, all right, there are some good things about this game. It was a tough game, and Houston at home showed up ready to play, and they performed in the first half, but we played a better second half. And I thought when we got to 20-17, we get the football back. If we would have scored a touchdown there, I don't think that Houston was going to come back. And I really think that we were going to put the game away, but we just didn't execute enough times. So you guys are just now tuning in. Join in with us now is Modown. It's myself, the Sauce God, and 12 Gauge and Modown. Quick shout out to 12 Gauge, who produces the show, manning the helms on the boards. And I want to appreciate everybody out there for your likes and shares and comments. Make sure you tune in with us next this coming Friday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time, as that Keita Nakagawa Bill Samurai interview is coming. I have it almost edited with captions for you guys, so you guys can easily understand what he's saying. He wanted to sound clear to Bills Mafia, and he gave a great interview. These guys actually, 12 Gauge was actually backstage listening the entire time. Great stuff. We just had on Slick Tom Tiberi on Friday night. That was a great show. Love that we had him on. And 12 Gauge, honestly, he said he had such a great time in there with us that he wants to come back and be a co-host, like kind of like a regular appearance. So that's great stuff.
Awesome.
So make sure you guys are following, subscribe with your notifications turned on so you don't ever miss the live versions of the show or any of the great content or interviews or updates for Buffalo sports and all things sports entertainment coming from myself, the Sauce God, at Buffalo Sauce God, and also available via audio podcast for the Sit Down Podcast that's live Friday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. Pre-game show as well for Bills game days, and the post-game show that you're live here in right now with myself, Modown, and 12 Gauge. All right, so we had Terrell Bernard with an interception. That was Gage's game book MVP of the game. AJ Epinesa had a couple of hands up kind of moments, yes, but ultimately, who do you think was the best player for the Bills today, Modown, offensively and defensively? Like, let's take away something positive from these guys and build on it.
Dorian Williams. I thought he was all over the field today. He played a great game. Definitely was doing pretty good in the run stopping. I seen him flying all over the field, so I liked him a lot on defense. Had I think the fumble recovery too. Offensively, I would say Cook. Really, he was the only one that was consistent. He was the only one that was doing
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
I think we
Oh,
should
yeah.
have stuck with the run.
Almost over 100 yards from scrimmage. He had 17 yards receiving, 82 yards rushing, so 99 yards total. That's very effective, especially when he would get some only 1-2 yard gains. So that shows that James Cook is consistent, and you can hashtag let James Cook. Offensively, for me, and then I'll get 12 gauge here. I'm sure you're going to stick with Terrell Bernard, and offensively, I'm not sure who you're going to pick yet, but I'll say that offensively, for me, it's just going to be the whole entire offense not turning the football over. I think Keon Coleman's one touchdown was great, but then you saw the offensive pass interference where you don't need to throw that penalty because they're both going for it. But at the same time, I could see why they did call it. He didn't get called for it in the previous week too, as well, when he had a big catch. So I just think overall, the no turnovers is a very big thing for this Bills offense to highlight on. I'd like to see less penalties, but defensively, for me, it's going to definitely be Terrell Bernard coming away with an interception. Actually, no, I take that back. I want to say Rasul Douglas, who really tightened it up tackling-wise after that Nico Collins touchdown. I think he kind of locked it in and made some big plays. He also was big on that defense as well. 12 gauge, offensive and defensive MVPs for the game.
I'm going to say both our linebackers, Terrell Bernard and Dorian Williams. They look great out there. Limiting the short stuff, kind of. Offensively, yeah, Modown was right on with that one. James Cook, I'm gonna go with him.
I just overall, man, I think there was a lot of weight on the shoulders of Josh Allen to kind of be the dude that, comes out of this game victorious. I think that kind of stuff, those ramifications do take place in these players' minds. So, I'd like to just see them get back to playing football, none of this noise. And I think that now that we're through this Houston Texans game, we don't have to talk about this shit anymore with Stephon Diggs. He's there. He's a Texan. He's not a Buffalo Bill. We have the guys that we have now. Let's just keep going forward with what we have. We don't need any more distractions. We've had too many injury-wise, Von Miller suspension, and then this whole entire game. Just let's get back to playing football. I think that's the biggest thing for us to kind of talk about here. So if you guys are just now tuning in, hit us with a like and a share. It's the Sit Down Post-Game Bills show right here on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and available via audio podcast. Stirring the sauce this week, man, is just going to be all about y'all on offense and defense, man. You guys need to remember that you guys are the alpha dogs out there. And I'm talking to you Bills players. I need more aggression. I need more juice. And I felt like we got that in the second half, but I want to see that in the first half. I don't want to be a second half team. I also don't want to be a first.
Wait, you can't be.
You know what I mean? I don't want to be a first half quit second half team like the Texans almost were.
Nope.
But overall, I mean, really, we won that. We lost that game by 3 points. We weren't in the game in the first half. It would have just been an ugly win if we would have won, but it still shows me that, listen, great teams lose in this kind of fashion when they're playing their worst football, but still find a way to somehow put themselves in position to maybe win the game, or at least, make it very competitive at the very end. And that's what the Bills did. So anybody out there that's saying, oh, the Bills got exposed, the Bills are done, they need Devontae Adams, this and that, shut up. It's fucking week 5. The Houston Texans, who are now 4-1, one of the best teams in the AFC, one of the best quarterbacks in football, with nothing but playmakers offensively and defensively. You guys are acting like we lost to the fucking junior varsity Leroy and Whacking Knights. It ain't that. You know what I'm saying? So anybody out there that wants to quit on the Bills team, go ahead. I don't care. This is just
I get so sick of the Fairweather fans, dude, and I get the text messages all through the game. Kincaid sucks. Oh, this dude sucks.
I got, and not to throw him under the bus, but one thing I couldn't, when I was with Built in Buffalo doing my podcast for them, I'm not going to name his name, but he's one of their founders. We had a group chat with all of us from Built in Buffalo, and immediately, if we just got down in the game, was just negative in the group chat the entire time. And it's like, dude, shut up. Like, just let the game play. Even me at halftime, it's 17-3. I wasn't being a jerk to my girlfriend. I wasn't, pissed off. Like, yeah, I'm not exactly thrilled. I want to see a better product on the field, but I also No, there's another half of football, and we have Josh Allen, and we have the Buffalo Bills on the field. Okay? So if you guys can't stick with the team, man, then just go find a different sport or find a different team, because this is a fan base that we have to get used to these tough moments. And I'm sure that obviously the true fans that have been rooting since the 70s, 80s, 90s, whatever, they've been through a lot of more heartbreak than I have, and they're still fucking sitting here rooting. It's just, let's have a positive attitude. And I hope the Bills team has a positive attitude as well, because I think everybody's got to get better. Coming in real fast, we got a comment from it's Shaquille, Houston Texans fan. Hey, congratulations on your win, brother. And not going to sit here and talk shit, man. You guys played a good game in the first half. We made it competitive in the second half. But CJ Stroud is the real deal. Second half, we kind of diagnosed him a little bit better, and we played a little bit better. We don't have a lot of experience against him. Obviously, we don't play Houston very much. But hey, Houston showed up today, and props to you guys on the win. Huge win for you guys, getting to 4-1 on the season. Overall, though, Modown, I think I'm happy that Stephon Diggs didn't score a touchdown.
Yep.
But I think that if this game went to overtime, I want your guys' take. Let's talk about hindsight. If this game goes to overtime, Modown, was Josh Allen going to get his first ever overtime win?
I think we could have had the possibility of it, whether we won the coin toss and started with the ball, or they got it and we shut them down. Our defense looked 1,000 times better in that second half, man. So I was feeling pretty confident in the way that they were stopping them. A couple of 3-and-outs. I think I would have played for that. I think I would have done that. I would have kind of played for the overtime, being the way that they were doing that in the end zone. You were set so far back, dude. I mean, they should have. They should have just ran the ball a few times, and I don't know. I didn't like the way that they handled that last little bit of the game.
No, and I'm going to talk about that here in a brief moment. And it was a good game. And like I said, man, I have a friend who actually lives right down the street from me. He's a Houston Texans fan. I really have a lot of respect for CJ Stroud, your head coach, D'Amico Ryans, Nico Collins, my fantasy starting receiver. Obviously, us Bills fans just have a little bit of a bias because Stephon Diggs was traded to you guys, and the way that it happened and the way that it transpired isn't necessarily a good breakup, right? And a lot of us have been kind of learning a little bit of what Minnesota fans told us when we traded for him, that he was a diva. And hey, he's playing well for you guys. I'm just saying that's great. But I'm just forewarning you, man, when things aren't going well, don't expect him to be the guy to fix things, okay? Because him leaving this team was I think better for this offense. And I think that even if we don't do it all this year, I think the Bills overall, we're trying to stay competitive this year, give themselves a chance to get in the postseason. And at that point, you're capable of anything. Anyone's got a chance. But I think that they're gearing up for a more competitive season also next season. And I'm not saying tank. I'm not saying, oh, that's a good reason to lose. No, I just really believe that the Bills are right now trying to do with the best with what they have out there. And they're trying to keep themselves competitive for years to come, the same way that Kansas City has, the same way the Bills have now for as many AFC East championships in a row and as many playoff appearances in a row as they've had, right? So 12 gauge. If the Bills go to overtime in that game, where was Josh Allen going to get his first OT win?
I'd like to think so. Like Modown said, we should have been playing for the overtime. If Matt Collins didn't make that catch, we could have maybe gotten that field goal at the end. I think. Yes.
Yeah. So, okay. Here's my thoughts. We did a great job getting the football back from Houston. That fucking intentional grounding on CJ Stroud was huge.
Man.
And it was the right call.
We had the opportunities.
But I didn't.
That game.
As soon as I saw where our field position was, I didn't like the situation because the Bills obviously want to be aggressive there, but they should have also had a little bit of conservation in their game there. I think that maybe Joe Brady necessarily didn't need to run the football, but you could have thrown the football in between the in between the field and maybe actually run the clock a little bit, forcing Houston to have to call timeouts, forcing some game clock to come off. Because, yeah, it was a long field goal attempt, but they had more than enough time with 3 timeouts. That you need to remember situational football, which myself and 12 were talking about. You need to learn how to manage that a little bit better. Okay, we want to be aggressive here, but we also know that if we give them a chance to get the football back, that's going to give them a field goal chance. We don't want that. You don't want them to have a under 60-yard field goal attempt with the final seconds, and the Bills to have no timeouts to even try to ice him, right? So I think, again, situational football is something that Joe Brady's going to develop more of because he is a young offensive coordinator in his second, technically year and a half now. And like I said, this is a team that's trying to revamp what they are without their number one option of Stephon Diggs and just a lot of things moving pieces in the last offseason. So we're going to go into the next segment here, though, ladies and gentlemen, of I'll take that. We're not going to do I'll take that action. Actually, you know what? Let's go and I'll take that action. Let's do some picks and props for the Sunday night football game. And I'll let you guys out there like and share with the show, and make sure you are following, like, and subscribe, notifications turned on. So we'll go through some picks and props for Sunday night football, which I'm not sure who is it playing tonight. Let me pull it up real fast.
Dallas and Pittsburgh.
Okay, Dallas and Pittsburgh. That should make for a solid game. At the moment, I can tell you that Pittsburgh is the favorite, which is a little bit shocking. So let's go ahead and play that video for I'll Take That Action. And remember, we do not encourage or endorse any illegal or underage gambling. Bet and play at your own risk, where it is legal to do so. If you guys win, send us your picks and send us your parlays. Show us your wins so we can show them off for everybody out there. I'll take that action. Let's go. Yeah. Hey, guys. Life is too short to bet the under. I don't care if it's 59. I don't care if it's 67. You gotta ride the fucking over.
This is fucking ridiculous. We need a fucking touchdown. The stakes are high for these ones, boys.
Over-unders, give me points.
Man.
All right, so I'll take that action for Sunday night football. We have a spread of Pittsburgh favored 2.5 at home, and the Dallas Cowboys on the road as a plus 130 underdog money line. The over-under is 43.5 for this game. And some of the player props are Justin Fields at over-under 186 yards passing. 186.5, I'm sorry. Dak Prescott over or under 241.5 passing yards. And we have some rushing props. Dak Prescott over 7.5, under 7.5. Justin Fields with over or under 47.5, which is one that I think people should really pay attention to because that kid can run the football. Also, Najee Harris, 68.5 over under rushing yards. Receiving yards, George Pickens, 54.5 over under. Jake Ferguson, 46.5 over under. And CeeDee Lamb, 77.5 over under. So let's go into some free picks and props. Let's start with Mo down here, brother. What do you think spread and over under wise in this game?
I'm going to go with an over. I think it's going to be a shootout. I can see the over happening here a little bit on that. I'm going to go Pittsburgh by a touchdown.
Okay, so you're taking Pittsburgh spread and the over. I like the over in this game. I also like Pittsburgh minus 2.5. I think at home Pittsburgh is tough to beat, and they're definitely playing good. TJ Watt's playing great defensively, and Justin Fields is kind of getting some momentum with that team, and they're 3-1 right now. They're looking to get back to stay in the win column at 4 to get to 4-1. 12 gauge. What do you think, brother? 2.5 for Pittsburgh as the favorites, and over under 43.5.
I'm going with you guys. Over.
Hey, I like that.
43.
We're all riding the same picks here.
Pittsburgh minus 2.5.
Okay. So now how about this? Over under 186.5 passing yards for Justin Fields. Let's start with 12 on this one.
Might be a little nasty weather tonight, so
maybe under here. All right. So under. Okay. Now what do you think, Mo down? Over under 186.5 passing yards for Justin Fields.
That's not a real big number. I think he'll clear that.
Okay. So you think he goes over?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Dak Prescott, I'm thinking he's going to go over 241.5 passing yards. I think he's going to be playing from behind quite a bit. I don't think Dallas has much of a run game, so I think he's going to pass the football quite a bit. I also think Justin Fields runs for over 47.5 passing yards today. I think he's going to get kind of rushed out of the pocket. No Micah Parsons, by the way, for the Dallas Cowboys this week. Receptions. How about this one? Let me ask you this, Modown. Over or under 4.5 receptions for George Pickens?
Oof. Let's say over. I think he's going to be the star tonight. I like that.
Yeah, I like that. So he's saying over. I honestly am saying over as well, which is a plus 108 pick. So that's plus money. You can't really go wrong with that. It looks like they're reviewing this touchdown in the Denver game. So let's see if that stands. Anyways, by the way, we giving out some free picks and props right here in the sit down presented by Zubaz 716 Sports Card and Memorabilia store there in Depew, New York, with our guy Modown, aka the Lake Effect, and all that and much more here in the sit down Friday nights, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. All right, so I'm gonna do a little test here, Modown. I'm gonna do getting saucy. I'm gonna see. Can you hear? Tell me if you can hear me loud and clear over this instrumental in the background in just a second. Can you hear me? Can you hear me still?
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. Bills better win. I say that it's a sin to let Stephon Diggs come and dig it up. I say that we'll fix it up. Joe Brady's got that offense, he crazy getting up. I'm going to tell you that the Bills offense is just setting up. Defense, got to get them turnovers. We heading up the field. Move the ball. Where's Keon Coleman? I know Josh Allen going to be fine when throwing. He's got to run the ball. He's number one overall. I say that we going to ball. We going to never fall. Get it back, right back, fight back like that. I say that we got to do this because we is the right attack. Bills come back next week and win in New Jersey because I say fuck New Jersey Jets. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers working more like LA Dodgers because he don't want to get near us, and that's why he trying to dodge us like, can we get Grook and Epinesa? I say you always know that the Bills are never stressor. Can we get back to fucking winning so I can go from I was gonna say from frowning to grinning, but that's just a little freestyle for getting saucy, man. I just figured I'd try that out.
Nice.
Yeah, you hear that? Was that all right? That sound okay?
That was fun.
I mean, I figured I'd give it a shot with the microphone in the background instrumental, but hey. All right, hey, Gage, did you hear that?
Yes, I did. It was
you guys
pretty
will hear
solid.
in coming weeks, you guys will hear some more of those kinds of things in some of the clips like Stirring the Sauce and, of course, the Getting Saucy segment here. All right, so guys, let's get out of here. It's Bills game day. Bills fall to the Houston Texans 23-20. We will be back in the sit-down Friday night at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time right here on Facebook Live, YouTube Live. Make sure you are following, like to subscribe with notifications turned on. Facebook is Anthony Bomasudo. YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and X, formerly known as Twitter, is at Buffalo Sauce God. And this is available via audio podcast the following day on audio podcast platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and myself, the Sauce God. Modown, who's a man in the helmet, the Zubaz 716 Sports Card and Memorabilia store there in Depew. Check them out. And also with the producer and co-host 12 Gauge and our other co-host Kirby will probably be on this Friday night with us as long as weather holds up in Florida. Prayers and vibes are with him. And also our guy Rampart, who is absolutely hyped for the Bills and Sabres season underway. So, hey, guys, we have playoff baseball still going on. The Yankees play tomorrow night, so let's root them on. Mets are still in the playoffs as well. I think they won last night. So some good things in the world of sports. It's a great time to be a sports fan. And we might have lost this week, but truly, Bills Mafia, it's nothing to hang our heads on. It's a long season, and we have nothing but things to build on and find positivity from. So let's get back into the win column of 4-2 next week against the New Jersey Jets. We'll see you here Friday night in the sit down, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, right here, a sports entertainment show with Sauce God, 12 Gauge, Modown, and the other guys. All right, guys, God bless. Stand tall, bolster up, enjoy the rest of football Sunday and the rest of the weekend. And as always, go Bills.
Go Bills.